Right, we are recording. What is happening, everybody? Welcome to the channel. I am delighted to welcome an esteemed guest onto the channel for his debut, Mark Goldbridge. Thank you so much for coming on, Mark.
Thanks, Rory. It's a pleasure to be on, talking Chelsea.
It's an honour. It's an honour to have you here. I would like to first, obviously we have a huge match coming up at the weekend, but if you don't mind, I would like to get your thoughts on Chelsea last night. I thought that we were fantastic to beat Atletico Madrid in the away fixture. It's very impressive, isn't it?
It is. You know what? It's interesting because I don't really, obviously a United fan, I don't really have a lot of love for Chelsea or Arsenal or any other rival, but I found myself last night really enjoying it because for me, the angle I went, and I never normally support the English club. I'd normally want Atletico Madrid to win, but I just felt that this was about La Liga against the Premier League. And I'd said it before. I said, Atletico Madrid are without doubt the best team in La Liga at the moment. And Chelsea are fifth in the Premier League. So they're not even the best team in England. But I said, Chelsea will beat them over two legs. And I was really impressed with Chelsea, the way that they passed them off the park. And, I know Atletico Madrid always are going to park the bus, but I don't think they had a shot on target. So I was really impressed with Chelsea yesterday, and I actually celebrated the Giroud goal when it was finally given, because I was like, I am proud of the Premier League. I think Bayern Munich are the best team in the world, but the Bundesliga is not the best league in the world. And it really upset the apple cart, because I was tweeting stuff, and you had the blue tick brigade going, oh, the Goldbridge football Twitter crowd. I was like, shut up, sit down, watch football, know what football's all about. Atletico Madrid are the best La Liga's got to offer, and Chelsea have just been and passed them off the park. So I was very impressed with Chelsea. I thought it was a big win for the Premier League last night.
Yeah, mate, I agree. I was surprised. I mean, I know that you thought Chelsea could win that tie. I just didn't see it coming. I just didn't think that we had it in us. So I am so shocked and so happy. So now, obviously, for the return leg, 1-0 up, we have an away goal. You still think Chelsea are going to go through?
We've got, is it Mount and Jorginho suspended?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the great thing about Chelsea is you've got Kante, you've got maybe Havertz might be back, but you've still got people who can do that role, haven't you? Like,
it's weird though, isn't it? Like, it's so weird. Like, I'm finding it difficult to process a world in which Chelsea have N'Golo Kante fit and choose not to start him. Like, it's a weird system, isn't it?
It is funny because we obviously on the United stand, we get a lot of people saying, would you take Kante from Chelsea? And I'm like, look, I'm one of Kante's biggest fans over the years, but I've seen Chelsea quite a lot this season. I don't think he's the player he was. So I wouldn't want him at Man United. I mean, we made that mistake with Matic. So, I mean, I do like Kante, but I don't think he's the player he was. But he probably suits what you need. That, if Kovacic and Jorginho are your first two, or whoever it is, it's not a bad player to have bringing in, because he's not 30 yet, is he?
No, I don't think he is, not quite. And like, I'd kind of go so far as to say that he is one of the few, if not only, what genuinely world-class players currently at Chelsea. So I kind of want to see him playing. So I don't think it's the Jorginho ban for the next leg doesn't offend me too much, doesn't worry me too much. Mason Mount missing out, however, will change the dynamic of. I know it changes the dynamic of our side entirely. Are you a Mason Mount convert? He gets a lot of stick from rival fans.
No, you know what? I do, like you, watch a lot of football away from my club, and I've always. Declan Rice is the same as well. I'm like that Rice. I'd rather have pasta. And Mason Mount, when he was getting picked over Grealish at the start of the season, like Southgate don't know what he's doing. I've watched a lot of him this season, and I think he's your best player. I think he, some English players get hyped, and I think Mason Mount has been, and I can only speak the last 3 or 4 months, because before that I would not have been a big fan of his. I think he's a fantastic player. I don't think he is a hyped English player. I think he, they used to say he was Lampard's stepson, didn't they?
Yeah.
I was disappointed when I don't know how to pronounce his name. Is it Tuchel?
I think you've. That's what I originally went. But I think that the pair of us have gone slightly too Francais there. I think it has to be slightly more harsh and a little bit more Tuchel.
So, yeah, when he first came in, I don't think he picked Mount. And I was like, oh, here we go. He's going to go with the German lads. But obviously, he's forced his way back in. And I think he's having a great season, yeah.
Yeah, he's playing brilliantly. So, onto the goal. Now, I measure every bicycle kick. I was talking to Lawrence on the kickoff yesterday. Right? I measure every bicycle kick on like the equivalent of the Richter scale, but for me it's the Trevor Sinclair scale. So Trevor Sinclair has, on the Trevor Sinclair scale, yesterday's goal to me was a It was a 7.1, a respectable 7.1, something like that, which is, that's an earthquake. If the 7.1 hits, you know about it. I've seen some rather sneery comments on Twitter about it, saying that it wasn't like a perfect bicycle kick. It was a good goal, not a great goal, whatever. For me, it was brilliant. Where do you sit on that bicycle kick yesterday?
I like the Trevor Sinclair one, because that is the complete overhead kick, isn't it? And well, look, we had Rooney do one in a Manchester derby, and it was fantastic.
He shinned it.
He shinned it. You're right. He did shin it. So, but the intent was there, and I think with it's, I like you say, the perfect one is you catch it on your laces and it goes in the top corner like Sinclair. But I thought Giroud's not a small guy. He's a big guy, and I would be very happy with that. And I thought you know what? The only shame in that goal was that I thought it was offside. I thought many people did, and you've got to go through that. I was joking last night. Is he on the phone to his bloody mum getting the EastEnders update? He was on for ages, wasn't he? And but it was a really good goal. And Giroud I said it last night, defies belief. He's never a player I would start for Man United, but his goal record is brilliant, and he's won you the game.
Mate, that 18 million that Chelsea spent on him is turning into such a bargain, because you've got to think, when we won the Europa League, when we beat Arsenal in the final, in fact, he was pivotal in that entire run. He was brilliant. He scored in the final. He was brilliant on that. Scored big goals for us consistently. I saw an amazing stat, which I think you might like, regarding Eden Hazard. Since Eden Hazard went to Spain, Olivier Giroud has scored 5 goals against Spanish opposition. Eden Hazard has scored 4.
Yeah, Hazard's a weird one, isn't he? But the great thing about that goal as well is, I was watching the game last night. I was like, this is a really good performance from Chelsea, but Simeone's going to be happy if it's 0-0, because he loves that. He loves the two-legged thing, Simeone. He loves the fact that you get a clean sheet at home and then you go away, and all you've got to do is score. And the brilliance of that goal, not only was it a good goal, but it just puts Simeone in trouble, and it gives Chelsea that we've got the away goal thing.
Yeah, for sure. And what about the Champions League this year? Obviously, terrible state of affairs for Manchester United not qualifying. It was the game in Istanbul that ultimately did for you, wasn't it? Where do you see the Champions League falling this year? I've got a terrible feeling, Mark, that it's going to be Man City.
This terrifies me, Rory, because Man United's treble is the thing. It is the thing that
I know. I agree with you.
We love. And what worries me is that not only could they do a treble, they could actually do a quadruple, because they're in the Carabao.
And also, they've basically won 2. So they've basically won 2 of the 4 already.
Yeah,
you can kind of say they've won the League Cup, they've won the Premier League. They're only after 2 now.
I just think for football, Man City cannot win the treble. Not because I think every football fan should be united behind me on this one, because how can you win or replicate Manchester United's treble with no fans in the ground? It's a huge advantage. Like, if there's no fans in away grounds, any away win. I mean, look, we're unbeaten for a year, and no United fan really goes on about it, because there's not been any fans in the ground for a long, long time. It is a huge, huge advantage for a team like Man City, with the squad that they've got and the way that they play, to not have to play away against fans. It changes the dynamic. You know it yourself. If you're playing a football match and there's no pressure, the best players should come through.
Totally.
Fans are a huge part.
Fans are an equaliser, aren't they? They have an effect. And yeah, I agree. But do you think City are going to win the Champions League this year?
I think they are the favourites, because the only logic I have is that Bayern PSG a year ago wasn't as dominant from Bayern as you think. It was actually quite close. I've seen United play PSG and beat them, so therefore I think Man City can wipe the floor with United. So they're probably. I don't think Man City puts Bayern as favourites. I think it's a game that City could win.
Yeah, if you were to if I'm tipping someone for the Champions League, I feel like it is going to be City. Like, if I was to put a bet on it, I would go City, simply because I feel like it's like law of averages. It's going to happen. Whether City win it this year, whether they win it next year, they're going to win the Champions League, aren't they? So I just feel like it's going to happen.
It's going to be won soon. The league's going to be won soon, so they can focus on that more. I just don't see. To be honest, I think other than Bayern Munich and PSG, the winners, any other winner is going to be English. You know, even Chelsea could have a chance. Like
Oof,
they could.
oof,
I know you
imagine.
won't believe that, but
Yeah,
nobody gave you a chance going into Atletico Madrid game when the draw came out, because obviously Lampard was
yeah,
manager. You weren't doing very well, but you know, Chelsea at the start of the season, Chelsea was. I tipped them to finish second. I thought they would challenge for the title. It's only because it didn't go the way
yeah,
it did. The players are there for a manager who's competent to come in and instantly turn it around.
yeah, yeah. I see what you mean. You know, if you know, now obviously you're not in the Champions League, you're in the Europa. Where I sit on that, I don't have at all a sneery attitude to the Europa League. When Chelsea are in it, I like to win it. I wanted to win it. Do you want United to? Do you want? It's weird to say this. Do you want United to win it, or would you rather drop out and focus on other things?
I think before the Sociedad game, I was very much play the reserves, focus on top four. We're in second place. I can see a battle coming from behind. I don't think you can do Thursday, Sunday for 10 weeks, which is what you
Yeah,
need to do. Having beat Sociedad, I think, you know what? Who's going to, you know, not saying we're going to win it, but we can win that. It's a dangerous thing now, because like it's like if you go past Sociedad, you're like, well, you've got to commit. And
yeah.
if you do commit, I've seen very hard. I think Chelsea are the only team to do Europa League in top four, actually. I think it was done. Was it Di Matteo did it or something like
Yeah,
that?
no, we did it. Benitez, you know, it was Benitez. Well, and Sarri did it as well.
Yeah, it's very
But
difficult to do.
Benitez did it in 13. It would have been when we beat Benfica in Amsterdam and got top four.
Yeah,
So, but
God.
yeah, you're right. You're right. I don't think anyone's ever won the league and done well in the Europa League though. Like
No, no.
definitely takes away from your league form. But no, mate, it's good. And so you think Chelsea can go through? Chelsea into the last 8. You've heard it here first.
Yeah, definitely. And then I think there's not many teams English. Well, as I said, I think Premier League is the best league in the world, and I think that's been proven over the last week. You know, Sociedad were 5th in La Liga, put a strong team out against United, got battered. Atletico Madrid last night, they're never going to get battered, but ultimately, if they'd been a bit more open, you might have won that 2-0, 3-0. So I think that the only teams that English clubs need to worry about are Bayern Munich and PSG. I don't think any Italian club's going to cause a problem.
No.
Spanish clubs are going to be out soon. So.
Can Liverpool do anything in the Champions League? Do you think?
Well, I'd say to you, if Liverpool drew Chelsea in the quarterfinals, would you be worried that you're going to get knocked out?
Yeah.
I
Do you
wouldn't.
know what though, Mark? I don't know if you kind of agree with this at all, but I think because of the brilliance that we've seen from Jurgen Klopp and this side over the past, say, 4 years, I've been like conditioned to not even understand what. Like, I still think Liverpool are going to finish in the top 4 when I know they're not going to, but something in me just makes me so fearful of Salah and Klopp and Mane and all that I can't quite process them not doing it. And that's kind of how I would feel if we were to play them in Europe. If Liverpool were to get Chelsea in the semi-finals, I'd just be convinced that Klopp and the entire club are going to elevate their performances.
I'm massively respectful of Liverpool, even though they're our biggest rival. I think Klopp's a fantastic coach. It's took me a bit of time to accept that. But I think having watched Liverpool, the easy assumption is to say, well, they've got their centre-backs. The problem is not their centre-back. Well, it is, but it's part of 3 problems.
Yeah.
Their midfield is no longer good because it's compensating for their centre-backs. Their full-backs are no longer as good because they're compensating. And their attackers are not getting the service because the midfield's the whole team has fallen apart because of that centre-back crisis. And I think that ultimately is an insurmountable problem that he's going to have between now and the end of the season. And I think from Liverpool's point of view, as you said, you know, if they could really seriously end up in the Europa League next year, and they've got to try and get top 4, which, as you know yourself, you're in that battle. It's not going to be easy if Leicester United keep winning.
Leicester United, and what do you know who need to do one? West Ham United,
Ham.
man. They're hanging about too long. Mark, this has been brilliant. Thank you so much for coming onto the channel. I really do mean that, and appreciate your support massively. Make sure that you check out Mark's channel, The United Stand, and we will see you all very soon. Cheers.